Stephen Norsworthy. I'm going to demonstrate particularly the left hand on the doppio movimento section of the Chopin, and some improvements that I personally have made to the double arpeggios. And I highlighted this in my last video that we needed to get the right finger further up the key and use the entire length of the key. And what really inspired me this weekend was watching Horowitz, a video of a close-up of his hand playing the A-flat major Polonaise of Chopin. He was all the way up here at times, and you could see he has wider fingers than I have. I have a wide hand, but I don't have that wide of a finger compared to him. He's still getting his fingers up in here and getting really good articulation. Because what's interesting I find in Chopin is that a lot of the notes lay where you would just lay your hand. In other words, you'll have notes laying down here on the fifth finger. You'll have notes laying up here on the index finger. You'll have notes laying here on the thumb. And Chopin's, the natural hand position of just laying your hand on the keys is, interestingly, I'm finding a hallmark of Chopin. Maybe I'm not the first one to find this. I'm sure that I'm talking to people who already know this, but I was fighting all this time trying to play more down in here and not really playing up here. I was resisting the fact that we have less leverage up here, but on a large piano you still have so much leverage up here, it doesn't really even matter hardly. You do get more sound here for the same amount of force than you would get here, but who cares? Learn, adapt, use the natural hand position, and use this full length up here. Now, the fact that I'm using this wrist arch, by the way, I want to point something out. Eliane showed me a video where his elbow was significantly below the key when he was playing that Polonaise in A-flat. And so, no, Glenn Gould is not the only one doing this, my friends who are resisting me on this. No, Horowitz did it. Now, what's also interesting is I made a video earlier that when your elbow is lower and your wrist is up like this in this position, you have a greater pull range, hence greater ability to get very high dynamic levels right at the surface of the keys. I'm sticking to that guns. No one's going to dissuade me from that anymore. After seeing the Horowitz video, I'm done. I'm not debating that anymore with anyone, and if they want to resist me, fine. If they want to play like this, fine. I'm not going there ever again, all right? I'm convinced. Now, Gould did it more than Horowitz. Gould is where I am, where the elbow is measurably 5 inches below, right? 5 inches below the keyboard. And this is a 30-degree angle. Horowitz is a little less than that, but he's definitely below the keyboard level, friends, okay? Now, here we go into the Chopin doppio movimento section. What I showed in my last video was where I was doing this movement. I was showing that when you get this index finger right up at the very top, your wrist is actually very well aligned, and all you have to do is just do that. And the more you have to do this, the more you have to move your whole arm mass, because the wrist moves like this. The wrist pushes on the arm, and hence you're getting more arm outward movement. So minimize the mass that you have to pull. We already went over that in the earlier video. So now I'm applying that across the board to my double arpeggios, and I'm really getting somewhere, and it's really forcing me to have to refinger and rechange and relearn this entire section, but it's all for the better. So if I go, it's a pianissimo section, so we don't want to we want to get nice, soft. Now, I don't like this. I used to like this fingering with the thumb under. Now, I like this better, although I can make this work just fine. There's no problem with that fingering, because there's not a lot of motion. The double arpeggios are not very wide apart, and in that case, you have a choice, a good choice of fingerings, but I'm going to stick to my 5-2 and my 4-1 just to teach me to get these fingers up here closer to the front of the keys. Listen how soft I can get that by controlling the pull. And notice with the pull, it's an instant release. It's the only mechanism that works the fingers and doesn't overwork moving mass and has an instant release. Hence, it is the lowest tension way of playing. You're never going to injure yourself like this if you do it right. Never going to injure. You don't even need to think about injury if you do this. My friend, who was worried about my injuring myself doing this, you need to put that on the back burner, my friend. It is not going to happen this way. It is the theoretically least amount of mass I am moving with an instant release. Okay, my friend? So, let's not talk about this anymore. I don't even want to think about it. Okay, so now we've got... Now this is interesting because neither one of these keystrokes require getting up here. However, I'm going to get up here just a little bit. It's a little bit of a benefit, but there's not a whole lot of movement anyway because the hand fits. My hand fits nicely on a 12th, or on a 10th, I'm sorry. My hand fits nicely on a 10th. So I'm not really having to move much anyway here. Now this is different. I was doing before this, but now I'm going to do this. See how much less movement there is? This way there's a lot of movement. But here, there's almost no movement. Look at that. Now look, I'm going to get my index finger way up there on that A flat. Now notice also, remember that I play with almost no vertical motion. So I'm doing the Eliane Rodrigues lazy hand where you just kind of glide it over the top and you're not jumping up into the air and coming down. There's a little bit of movement there, see that? Hardly any. Pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. And because that finger's high up there, the higher you get that, the less motion there is. Look how loose my wrists are, my fingers are. Pull. My wrist is dropping with gravity. Look at that. Now the lazy hand of relax, like Eliane does in her lovely artistic playing. Glide it over the top. Now here I'm moving a little bit more. I think I can minimize that by getting these fingers further up. Look at that. How much that minimized that? I was doing this. So I was getting this kind of motion with my arm because my third finger was on in front of the black part of that F sharp. Let's get it further up there like that. Lightly pull, release, lightly pull, release, lightly pull, release. Hardly any movement is needed. It is fantastic. Glide that hand from here. The lazy glided hand is totally relaxed. Pull. Now here. Because the hand fits so well in the octave, you don't need to worry about getting this finger up here like this. It's just a real gentle. But notice we have to control the neck. There's a lot of sound here. We don't want to get that much sound because it's a resonant, deep part of the piano. So we want to really gently pull. I'm going to transfer that energy up into the thumb because I'm weighting it down here. Also get that thumb in when you don't need it, and then bring it out, and bring it back in, bring it out, bring it back in, bring it back out, bring it back in, out. Now here we don't want to roll on that. We want to get those together. So we want to kind of keep the center of mass of the hand right there in the middle. Hear how that attack is better than it was before? We get those attacks real clean. The cleanliness weakness of the attack and a chord is going to be getting the center of mass where the center of that chord is and then pulling gently. Hear how much better that is? It's amazingly better. Now the relaxed hand, the drooped hand, no vertical motion. Thank you, Eliane. You gotta get on the right notes. Lazy hand, down. No, don't come down on it. That's bad. We don't want to ever do that. We want to come down and pull, down and pull. We want to get this index finger right up there on that B flat. See, I was simply not using this full range before. The Horowitz thing just totally inspired me. He's up here a lot. I mean, I've never seen a pianist using the full range so much as Horowitz. And thank you, Horowitz, for playing with your elbow below. Lazy hand. I gotta get the right notes. Then we want to go. Pull. And then this. Let's get that finger way up there. Minimize emotion, minimize the amount of inertia we need to move mass. Control that sound. We're still pianissimo. Pull, pull. Now, I'm noticing my thumb wants to stick out every now and then. It's a habit. I need to keep that thumb curved like this and keep the little finger curved like this whenever I really possibly can. It's a good habit to get into. Get the thumb away. Draw the thumb. Relax the hand. Pull. This is a really good example of getting the index finger way up on that B flat and getting the thumb in. Get the thumb in on the first pull and then out. And then. So you get that thumb in and balance that chord better. It's a little bit of a tilt in the hand. And then come down like this. And do 5, 4. That way there's no vertical jumping in motion. Let's get this note right. Let's get that attack together. We're going to get the index finger further up. Pull, pull, pull. Surface, curve the thumb. Curve the thumb. Get the thumb in. Curve the thumb, pull it. Get the thumb in. Get the thumb in. Curve it, pull it. There's no need to go high up here. You really need to know those hand positions with respect to the longitudinal position on the keys. 5, 4. That was a pull and 5, and a pull and 4, and no vertical jumps. Surface pull, surface pull. The lazy hand that droops over with no vertical leap. This is a good application of getting the index finger right up there. Keep the thumb in. Roll over elliptically. 4, 5. Now notice I'm doing a lot of motion here. That's my old habit of a lot of elliptical motion. We need a little bit of elliptical motion. So that means getting the index finger as high up on that D flat as we can. It wasn't together, see? Get the thumb in, thumb out, thumb in, thumb out and curved. Thumb out and curved and on the surface and pull. I got more on this than this because I was weighted much in that direction. Weight more like this direction. And that's partly because this finger is in a higher elevation than this one. So the lower elevation of the F is going to cause it to fire before the higher elevation note, at least in the way I'm tilting the hand. So I'm going to tilt the hand a little more this way. That's a perfect fingering, a perfect motion. And then, no vertical. Relaxed hand. Relaxed hand on the surface and pull. When you come to the C, relax the hand. Get this index finger way up here. Curve the thumb. It's a 5, 4. 5 pull, 4 pull. Notice my old habit here. A lot of extra motion is needed this way, and the motion is wrong. Notice because I'm doing this. No, Eliane wants always this. Let's do it again. Thumb in. Get this up here. No. Finger up here. Old habits are hard to break. Let's get it further up. That's the perfect motion right there. Index finger far up. Pull. Pull. Clockwise rotation. Clockwise rotation down. Clockwise rotation up. Clockwise rotation down. So that's been the focus of my studies over the last week. Old habits hard to break, getting into the new habit of further up, minimizing motion, playing with the hand weighting angle, getting the attacks together. These are the very, very fine points to my ears of what makes the difference between a really good pianist and a great pianist, is that fine level of perfection that you only find in the greatest pianists. And I'm not saying I'm there yet, I'm a long way from there, but I hear and see what these little things are all about, and my eyes and ears are open, and I'm working on it. Thank you.